All right, the problem at hand right now is with this blender. So Vitamix Blender, it's been working for many years right now. It's one of those better blenders out there. But right now the problem that we have is not with the blender itself, is with the jug. Now, these jugs are composed of 3 parts, but while using the bottom part of ours basically came off. And if you take a look at this piece, the bottom part, the threads are basically corroded to a point that this thing is not staying on anymore. And this is a metallic part made out of probably sintered metal. It's got an o-ring right here. It's got one of those square o-rings. But there is no way of fixing this. I was thinking that I could put another basically nut on top of this so that everything, so this thing can hold together. But unfortunately, it interferes with this piece right there. So you can't really put another nut behind it. Now the solution is to get basically another one of these. The part number on this Vitamix part number is 102981D. Unfortunately, this part has been discontinued. You can't get them anymore. But I went online and I found a very similar part. Now the part number and everything is right here for you. You can pause the video to see the part number. But the part is very similar, and I would say it's an improvement to the old one. This one is also metal, but it's been embedded with plastic. This is basically injected molded plastic around it, but inside still metal. The part number for this one is 108300B, and it is from Vitamix. I got this on Amazon, and long and behold, it works. All right, so other things that I wanted to mention is that when you take everything apart, obviously you should clean and basically sanitize everything, but also pay attention if your o-ring right here needs replacement. Now this o-ring does not see much chemicals other than some vegan stuff, so it should be fine for a long time. But also check if you have any wiggle in this bearing. There are 2 bearings right there that basically keep this together. If you have up and down movement on the blade, maybe you should tighten this nut. But just see if the bearing sounds, if it has any noise, because you might even have to change this part. And this part is also available on Amazon. You should inspect the gears right here. The gears are not worn. They don't have, they don't show any wear. A little bit, but not to a point that it's bad. My blade is a bit bent. On this axis, you can see. I will try to bend it a little bit back, but it's not a very big concern. These edges of this blade don't have to be very sharp. In fact, you can see a little bit of shininess to the edge. That means it's not sharp at all. This thing is not really cutting anything. It's basically pulverizing stuff, so should be fine. So the procedure for this is that what you do, you put some olive oil around this o-ring because you want the o-ring to sit nice and snug. There are wings in the housing, so you basically have to find these notches right here. You insert this right there, and the new retaining nuts that you got from the bottom, it basically threads on. All right, I got some olive oil right here. What I'm gonna do, gonna dab my finger in the olive oil and just basically rub this O-ring around here. I'm gonna put the blade in the housing and make sure it's seated. Put it down. That's the old part, sorry. Dab my finger in the olive oil again and basically put some olive oil. You don't want to do this with any other oil because obviously this is like, has to be food safe, and you're gonna be eating whatever you're gonna make here. It's basically just like that, and maybe a little bit of olive oil on here to make sure that basically goes together nicely. All right, much better. All right, now how do you tighten this? There's two methods. There is a tool that Vitamix sells to tighten this, but also you can use spatula, just like that, and you can basically tighten it this way. You can do it a little bit at a time, but don't damage the, just like that. Don't damage the bearing right here. Make sure that you're not damaging anything. You can just basically wedge it like this and just turn it. And if you have anybody at home, you can ask them to kind of basically give you a hand, and you can kind of like do this. Somebody holds it and you basically crank it until it's doesn't crank anymore. All right, that's it for now. This is perfectly fine. All right, now is the time for the test. I've made some coffee right here. It's freshly brewed. Just put some coffee in there, some ice. So let's test it out.